Are you ready to start commissions? Well, you better make a commission sheet. Wait, how do I make a commission sheet? Where do I find a template? Is my commission sheet good enough? Wait, do I even need a commission sheet? What's up, y'all? This is the Art Mentor. My name is Sean. I'm a veteran art teacher and freelance artist. And today we're going to talk about why commission sheets are not a good practice, why you don't need one, the flaws with them, and if you really did want to make a commission sheet, how you should be doing it. And it's going to start right now. So overall, the theory of why people like to do commission sheets and why this became so popular makes sense. It really does. Essentially, up-and-coming artists started to copy what really high-performing, high-achieving, high-earning artists did, which was they made these sheets. And the spirit of it makes sense, right? You want to be able to just quickly communicate with clients what kind of services they offer at what prices that they offer it at. However, though, everything has gone awry with this practice because of these flaws. Over the years of people doing this and it becoming very popularized, some very obvious flaws start to come into play that a lot of people overlook or don't consider. The first major flaw that I can identify is that people take too much time creating them. It's just a waste of your time. I'm speaking from personal experience on this as well. I remember spending hours to create the perfect looking template, and it did not help at all, and it does not help most artists. The second issue with commission sheets is that they tend to offer services that nobody really buys or cares about, and they also tend to involve a lot of really bad examples, and we're going to discuss this, and I'm going to show you examples of it heavily in this video. And the third now, most important issue that you can identify with any pricing sheet is that they predominantly involve disrespectfully low wages. If you just do a quick, simple Google search for pricing sheets, for commission sheets, you're gonna notice that most of them are like $50 and way the heck under that. These are completely unsustainable wages that nobody should be advertising or offering their services for. It really degrades art in general. We have completely lost the essence, we've lost the good spirit of why people do this. Now let's take a look at some other flaws that I see all the time on commission sheets. The first most common issue that I see, especially with artists that are just starting out and they want to start to get commissions, is the concept of lazy imagery that they post onto their commission sheet. This is the most common issue I see with artists that are just starting out on commissions and they have in their commission sheets. So here we go, let's look at some examples. So here we have a pretty common example that I see all the time where we have somebody that offers headshots, half bodies, and full bodied artwork. But the issue here is that rather than just having one type of artwork for each type of service that they're offering, they just have one freaking image and then they just splice it across. This is like the magician's assistant trick that you usually see done where like the magician saws them into pieces and it's not really them and they walk out at the end, you know what I'm talking about? That's what this looks like, and this is just crazy lazy because it basically just reeks of like, well, I don't have an example, but you get the point here. And breaking it down in this way is really ineffective. Here you can see another version of this as well. This person also decided to do levels of completion, and I'm going to talk to you about that. But here we have the same person that's just standing there 3 times in a row, and now we can see a sketch versus a flat versus a full color. Why wouldn't you just do one that's supposed to be done in each version of them? The whole point of this, just to give you a massive secret here, is you need to instill confidence in your client by showing them relevant examples. You showing the same example 3 times does not inspire confidence. It's kind of like if you were a home builder and you only built one house and you're like, well, here's the framing, here's what it looks like with drywall, and here's what it looks like at the end. It's really lame. And yes, here's another example as well. And this person decided to even stretch this out even more into what I'm talking about here, where it's the same image. Now it's 4 times. This does not show that you have a whole breadth of experience in here, and it does not inspire a lot of confidence. It just makes it look like you don't try or you don't create art a lot. Now this one's kind of cool looking, to be honest, but I'm just gonna be very blunt about this. I really don't see that much of a difference between all of these. Again, if I'm a client and I'm looking at this, I need to see a varying difference between what do I get at what price points and what does my finished product look like. The sketch that's in the back is really not different at all from the line art in front of it. And there's very minimal difference between the line art and the color version versus the full rendered version. So while this is cool and I'm not knocking the artwork itself, I am, however, going to critique you on the actual examples that you're providing. This, if I'm a client, all this tells me is that all you can do is sci-fi elves. Now, before we continue here, let me go ahead and give you a massive power tip. Stop putting in your sketches and line art into your pricing sheets. Nobody cares and nobody buys them. Only put on your finished works because you want to get maximum dollar, you want to get maximum money off this, and you want to deliver maximum quality to your client. So stop doing this. Nobody's buying it. Now with this, everything I just explained could just be simply fixed by providing a different example of a headshot, a bust, a half body, a full body. That's it. Do different examples for everything. It's just that simple. Before we continue, here's a quick message from our sponsor. It's me. So please go ahead and help support me by liking, subscribing, hit that notification bell. Feel free to ask any questions down below. Do you use commission sheets? Let me know down there. I always answer my comments. Now, let's get back to it. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum is this. Another common issue with pricing sheets or commission sheets is that people tend to be way too freaking wordy with it, okay? Nobody's going to read all of that. Let's take a look at some examples of what I'm talking about. So this first one, I like that they actually have different examples of everything. This is what I was just talking to you all about. So they have a different image for the sketch, the line art, black and white, color, and shaded, okay? Now with all of this though, just look at the raw amount of text that they have going underneath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is about 9 different lines of text that you cannot and definitely should not put in there. This is totally unnecessary. And I see the spirit of this where you want to put all of your stuff like your contact info and your personal notes, what I do and I don't do, and this can be massively simplified. Here's another example too. So this goes back to what we just went over too, where there should be more examples involved here, but it's like, oh, if you want a headshot, a sketch, a color to shaded, a sketch, a color shaded, a sketch, color shaded. Why do you need to do this? You should have different images and you don't need to break it down like this. This is too much reading for a client. Like if I'm really hooked onto this artist and I have to really sit there and be like, which version do I want? Is it worth $5 to $10 to go more? I don't know. You're giving them too many options and then they're gonna feel paralyzed by the amount that they have to analyze. What you need to do is you need to capture that client within 2 seconds, because especially as we're scrolling through, most people are doing on mobile nowadays, as we're scrolling through everything, you have 1 to 2 seconds to capture them. And if you don't, then they're gone and they're on to somebody else. And it's probably going to be somebody that doesn't have a commission sheet, by the way. Now, I typically see these 2 issues compounded and added on with these issues. If your commission sheet is too complex and offers too much, it really overwhelms the client and it just doesn't work for them. Let's take a look at some examples. Now, this first one I'm going to show you here, this one, I mean, this artwork is really cool, but again, it's really lazy too at the same time, because it's showing you different stages of what you could get. And I'm just going to be real and honest with this person. You know, a lot of this is just really lazy. I don't really understand how you charge $15 more for a black and white version that all you had to do was go ahead and throw on a photo filter for it. That's kind of crooked. There's no real sense in that at all. So as I go through all of this too, again, I have too many things I need to look at. What level do I want? Oh, which one is cool? Which one do I not want to do with this? So here's the main issue around this. Whenever you offer these services, it's kind of like you're communicating to the client, when do I want to quit this? And what level of completion do I want to do, rather than me being focused on giving you, the client, the best possible version of the artwork. So don't do this. Instead, just offer different versions of what could you do. Now, yes, again, let's re-examine this one from this perspective as well. So sketch, line art, black and white, color shaded. Now, again, just looking at this from a client's perspective, what the crap is the difference between a sketch, a line art, black and white? Why is it $10 versus $20 when they fundamentally are the same? This is really something that nobody's going to do. If somebody wants black and white, man, they are going to ask you for black and white. When your commission sheet does not communicate the fact that you have to put in a lot more time and effort into your artworks, it devalues you as well. So this is another reason why this is not a good practice. And here, this is too complex, also because there's just too many options. There's not enough variation in those options either. If you're going to have multiple options, there needs to be a lot more variation in it. And here's the big mama jama atom bomb of all of these too. Look at this whole thing. Now imagine you don't know this artist, and this artist has some pretty cool artwork when I really get into it. But in order to do this, again, if I was on mobile, I'd have to click on it, I have to expand it, I have to scroll around. Think about this. I mean, this is like a 20 to 30 second process just to figure out, are you right for me? And what a client's gonna do is they're gonna scroll right past it because it's not really legible. I have to zoom in too much, I have to examine this too much, I have to put too much time and effort and investment into somebody that they don't even know. I mean, overall, here's the fundamental concept here is that you need to capture clients as fast as possible, as accurately as possible, because they're not going to invest the time into going through every single post with great detail unless they are one of those magical unicorns that really wants to do that. But I'm going to tell you my experience from freelancing from the last 8 years, this is not going to be the case. But wait now, there's more. Now let me give you some of my personal gripes against commission sheets from my professional experience. First off is that you cannot have any type of graduated pricing, and that means that you cannot very easily go up in pricing whenever you feel like it. Another thing that should happen is that as you become more in demand and you get more clients and you're getting more consistent work, you need to be upping your prices so that you stay competitive and you stay into it, and then you are getting more compensated for what you do. Another issue that's really prevalent that you should understand is this sets a false expectation as far as the degree of difficulty involved in it. Let me just show you two characters right here. Character commission over here is very simplified. Basic close, basic pose. It's really simple. But the one over here though, this one has lots of high-tech armor, has a very different lighting situation to it. There's a lot more complexity involved in it. Issue with pricing sheets like this is that it just oversimplifies what your pricing is and what you need to do with it. And without any type of conversation about what the client is expecting, it sets that false expectation that, oh, just a full body character, no matter what, it's just gonna be this. It's not a good practice, trust me. I myself have gotten really burnt out working on characters like this and not getting paid enough, and I don't want that for you. It's a really sucky boat to be in. Now the last piece here, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, but I'm just gonna tell you the truth. Only cheap artists are doing this anymore. Only artists that are just starting out, only artists that see other people doing this and are pricing themselves down low are still doing this practice. I don't think you want to model yourself after this practice. I think that you deserve better. In fact, I know you deserve better, because if not, then you would not be watching this video. This practice is going to stagnate your development as a professional. I don't recommend it. So now this raises the question, what should you do instead? So here's how I recommend that you do it right from my practices as well as practices from other freelance artists that I know. First off is that you should always have your evaluations through direct message, be it either a DM through an app or through email. These are the preferred ways that you should communicate with clients and give your pricing then. Never advertise your prices. No, don't do it. You don't need to release that information. It's not disrespectful. It's not being secretive or hidden or sneaky. It's none of that. It's just being respectful to you and the client as well. You don't need to advertise your prices. Have strong, relevant examples of your art in this. So if you are going to be applying for somebody that wants sci-fi or mech designs, you better have those. Don't put your furry artwork down. Don't put your nudie, not safe for work artwork down like I have definitely talked about in my other videos about this. You need to make sure that you have relevant examples of what clients want. Same thing goes if they want an environment or they want a spaceship design. You need to have done that before, something very similar to it. You need to definitely increase your pricing as you go. Again, as you accumulate more clients and you do more work, you need to be able to very comfortably demand more money because more is being demanded of you. And you need to remember that as an artist, you are both product and producer. So you need to respect yourself like that and make sure that you're getting compensated fairly for it. Now, if you want a really great example of what this entire process should look like, from talking to the client, giving your prices, I made an entire video about this. I'm gonna plug it right up above and down below. Okay, now let's just say this, that you're not on board with what I'm suggesting for you and you wanna learn how do you fix your pricing sheet. Let me give you an example. So if I was going to make a pricing sheet and I wanted to fix it based on all of the advice and feedback I've given you so far, here's how I would do it. First thing I would do is make sure it has a very simple design. You need to highlight your art. Remember, you're being hired as an artist, not as a designer. Next, and this is the biggest thing I see all the time, you need to show examples of different types of art. Have different examples of things like a headshot versus a bust versus a half body versus a full body versus an illustration versus an entire environment design versus a 3D model. Have those, again, because the more that you can show a client, the more it inspires confidence in you as their artist. The more it makes them want to come to you because they love your art, not just they love your pricing. While you do need to put certain things on there, you need an uncluttered appearance. So things that I would include on here, things like how you accept payment, a title for what everything is. I would also just include some basic contact stuff, which should always say to DM you. And lastly, most importantly, you need to have respectable wages up on there. And most importantly, always have them DM you for inquiries. Never, ever, ever, ever respond to somebody with direct pricing on any type of forum, any type of post. You always need to keep that private because that is unprofessional for you to start to discuss details or to make personal inquiries on any type of public space, on any type of public forum. Don't do that. Hey, if you want to learn how to be a better freelance artist and increase your skills and get more clients, make sure to watch these videos right here.